Good morning, good evening, and good day, ladies and gentlemen, and anybody else in between. I'm your host, Maley Moran, and you're listening to the Neurological Deep Dive Podcast. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy today's episode. Today's topic is a little controversial, but I feel like it should be talked about. We're going to be talking about human trafficking, specifically sex trafficking. Now, what is sex trafficking exactly? It is defined as a form of human trafficking which involves reproduction slavery. It is estimated that about 2/3 of trafficking victims in the United States are U.S. citizens. They estimate that 15,000 to 50,000 women and girls are trafficked each year. That's a lot. The executive director of UNODC said that, and I quote, "Many governments are still in denial. There is even neglect when it comes to either reporting on or prosecuting cases of human trafficking." According to the UNODC's report on 155 countries, 79% of human trafficking is sex trafficking. Women also make up a majority of the individuals trafficked, and in some parts of the world, you'll find women trafficking other women. Worldwide, almost 20% of all trafficking victims are children. But in some parts of the world, children are the majority, up to 100% in some parts of Africa. Up to 100% of all traffic victims in some parts of Africa are children. People are sick. Florida in the United States has one of the highest human trafficking rates out of all 50 states, and it doesn't seem to be getting lower anytime soon. There were a total of 896 cases reported in 2019, which was an increase from 2018's report of 760 cases. Sex trafficking is a modern term that came about during the second wave of the women's rights movement in the 1980s, when they protested exploitation of women and girls in prostitution and pornography. The first movement against trafficking was started in England by Josephine Butler, who fought for the goal of repealing the Contagious Diseases Act, which required women in prostitution to be registered and examined, which in that time meant if a woman was deemed infected, she could be held until she was clean. Or at least till she looked clean to them. Now, this was before germ theory, and antibiotics didn't exist, so any cure that they had just meant external symptoms went away. Many of the reformers who joined Josephine Butler and the campaign to repeal the CDAs came from abolitionist families. They saw the exploitation of these women as another form of slavery, which trafficking is. They call it white slavery. Hey, I just want to take this moment to make a quick announcement. If you didn't know already, we do have an email address, and you can contact the show at neurologicalpodcast@gmail.com, all lowercase letters. Again, that's neurologicalpodcast@gmail.com. We take any comments, questions, and concerns. Feel free to email us anytime about anything. Also, we do make art. We make art. I make art with my father. We make art together sometimes. So you should check that out. I think it's pretty cool. You can follow our Instagram at moran.art.m. Once again, it's all lowercase letters. And our Etsy is Moran Art Studios. So you can check that out too if you want to, if you're feeling frisky and want to maybe buy something. I don't know, that's completely up to you. What was I saying again? I was watching a TED Talk recently by Ryan L. Brooks on human trafficking, and I thought it was very interesting, and I'm going to discuss some of what I've learned from watching that. Human trafficking has become one of the fastest growing illegal businesses on the planet, and it is second only to the drug trade. This is a direct quote from Ryan L. Brooks. Understand that human trafficking happens everywhere, and understand that the issues that underlie the causes of human trafficking are uniquely tied to all of the U.S. I think personally that this is a huge issue in the United States, and people should talk about it more. I think people definitely shy away from touchy subjects, and also people tend to only care about the things that directly impact them. Slavery is the biggest human rights violation to bestow upon a human being, and that is exactly what this is. Slavery. In 2015, they estimated that human trafficking is a $150 billion a year industry, as compared to the 2005 study when it showed that it was a $30 billion industry. That is a 500% increase in less than a decade. I wonder what it is now. As humans, I believe that we should all strive for the truth and to be informed from knowledge. Do not let our children become victims of this so prevalent crime. If you see something, say something. I'll link the human trafficking hotline phone number in the description. If you demand social responsibility from these crimes, from these individuals, they'll be forced to supply it. I have another direct quote from Ryan L. Brooks. The slavery of one individual is equal to the slavery of all but one individual, and the quality of slavery is not determined by the number of people enslaved, but by the mere fact that we as people have allowed its existence. The TED Talk that I was watching was called Why You Should Care, and I think he gave an amazing talk, and you should go check it out if you have the time. It's very educational. Thank you for listening to Neurological Deep Dive. I hope I'll see you next time.